Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Torchlight. Let's continue here. So what we are trying to avoid having happen here is running into a scenario where I go the wrong direction or this game just turns extremely long. See, and as I'm walking this way, that looks like that's a long path. And as I'm walking the other direction, I'm hoping that this is kind of a shorter path. There is definitely something to be said about the layout of how this stuff goes. Because I really am not getting a good distance indicator. Like, how far is too far to search before you are in a point where you've transferred too far. There we have a lectern with some scrolls, but honestly finding scrolls are just going to be town portal scrolls and identify scrolls, and we don't need the identify scrolls because we have an identify spell. And you really couldn't play this game without the identify spell. There's no way that you would pick up as much items as I am picking up to get as much gold as I am getting without having that identify spell enabled and ready to go. So that effectively, unlike Diablo, I think even Diablo 1, but definitely Diablo 2 and 3, like, as a spellcasting character class, you could definitely do more than just 4 spells. So you really are kind of having a dumbed down experience in that instance in particular. Now, arguably, maybe all of these games really do work best when you just lock down into 4 spells or so, and the number bar factor probably does in part play that up, because all I can really have is 4 fingers on the number bar, number 1, 2, 3, and 4. So at most, if I shift my home row keys from the number bar to the letters below that, which would be Q, W, E, and R, maybe I could have 8 actions of something, whether it's spells or using potions. And then I kind of would like to see, I'm just going to stand in the middle and see if there's something I missed. I kind of would like to see a increase in just how effective potions are, instead of finding and having 3 different styles of potions. We are still, not quite to the point where we might start using ranged weapons upgrades, and we were looking for barter, which is 5 more levels from now, so adventurer still is our goal. I still think I need to put some points into dexterity more than anything else, and defense is not gonna hurt, so 30 into, get it up to 30 in defense and dexterity up to 40. We're really doing nothing towards magic, even though I'm playing as a mage. So I really don't know if the experience would be different much at all had I just played as the female archer lady that I played as originally, or even if I was playing as the barbarian sword swinging character. I don't know if that really changes your base stats in any way or gives any special class abilities. We're going around the edge of this area. There is probably a secret passage on the other side of this wall. If we can find something to randomly click on that would open that. Being in such a narrow pathway, I'm just gonna take hits. There's kind of nothing I can do about that. There is a switch on the wall. So are we in a boss room? Or are we just happen to do we happen just to be in an area? So if I'm in this area and just stand still, nothing happens. But if I just kind of generally click in areas, I suppose, I walk over the gold and pick it up. I'm a little surprised I am picking up gold as I walk over it, because it didn't really seem like that was the case. But I guess there is a certain unshown
has been sprung.
Like unshown radius of if you click somewhere, you will cause that cause items in that radius to be picked up. And down here, this would have been the mistake area to go to. So this floor didn't really have a boss on it, just had a larger area. And we're at floor 7. And we're starting to run into more things that are capable of blocking via armor. I'm doing a lot of clicking right now. A lot of clicking to run around this area and make sure I'm collecting everything that there is to collect. And down we go. Again, questionable why they needed to program what are effectively portals, just because the portals are a part of this game. We are now in the Overseer's Chamber, and that apparently opens the gate, and there's nothing else over here, so you have that element. Before we go in there though, let's use our identify potions to identify spell to look at everything and clear out our inventory. And let's see, identify scrolls, cracked core ember, bow, and leather boots, and that. Let's see. We're getting down to the point where we're finding a lot of garbage because we have rather quickly gotten a decent lineup of items. And see, like, this is not a bad weapon by any means. I've just legendarily gambled into a legendary so much. I really should go and gamble for another legendary and just hope it's not a weapon. Hope that I get a legendary piece of armor or a legendary ring or something along that line. Increased magic find and +1 defense versus increased gold find and +1 dexterity or strength and knockback. Actually, I think this is better for that, so I'll put that on. The dog. Well, okay. So we've got number 4 to heal all, and we've got number 3 to cast a spell that's never been really particularly effective. These big guys on easier pushovers. I guess the red bells are almost guaranteed to have an explosive amount of an explosion in it, a trap, whereas the non-red bells don't have that guaranteed, but then there's still a chance that that will happen and you'll hurt yourself. Our little skeleton archers look way too much like the other skeletons. So there's this cases of me not really locking into my mind that the skeleton archers that are shooting at me are bad guys versus them being on my side of the team. It would have been more appropriate if our skeleton archers looked completely different. If they were bright blue, which is a color that's you can see is not really being used in this game, they would stand out a lot more. Or bright purple, or had some kind of glow on them. If they had the animation of what a charmed, one assumes that if the charm spell was being used, which it isn't, because I didn't equip it on the dog, if the dog was charming people, they would get some kind of glow about them, almost certainly. So if we summoned the skeleton archers with that same charmed glow, then that would be a consistent throughout the game visual reminder that's to say these guys are on your side. But we don't get that, unfortunately. And this was a character that increased our fame, so a named character. That happened in Diablo 2. You would occasionally run into a named version of something that was a little bit stronger. Of course, right now I'm so overpowered that anything and everything can just be one-shotted, practically. You see the dog's not really taking any damage from being poisoned. I'm not really taking any damage from being poisoned. My archers are maybe taking a little bit of damage, but who cares? They're summoned in and then they die and then they resummon. It'd be nice if they could walk around, but I doubt even at their max level that will ever happen. Being a 10-year-old game, having 10 more AIs on the screen would have been a little bit processor intensive. And it certainly does change the dynamic if they were running around. I don't really get the idea here of having us like fill our pack before we reach the enemy, because one would assume that when you defeat the main boss we're going to get a significant amount of loot at that point. So it certainly does seem backwards. Identify a scroll? Right. Let's see. Transfer this. That. These boots. What am I wearing right now? I'm wearing the Gorgon boots. Yeah. We're looking for more Gorgon items if we can find them. That's a shield. That necklace isn't what we're looking for. Spiked necklace, or a spiked chest plate of the elephant. I could replace it with what I have, but it would do one less armor.
My pack is full.
Right. So
Your pet has departed.
send him away for a minute. And so while he's away, I'm gonna just start looking at things over here and see if any of these might even begin to start to make sense. Seems like the answer is no. This one in particular is It's a rare belt, but it's a 2 armor rare belt from a while ago. So that would have maybe made sense. Sort of, it would have made sense. And there's really no reason to go forward. I totally missed the chest. Alright. I think the dog is about to return.
Your pet has returned.
There we go. So, looking at these last few things, we can tell that this is all stuff that needs to be sold again. Yeah, it really gets back down to why the 2-minute penalty. Why not just have the ability to dismantle things immediately?
A trap has been sprung.
As the years continue down these style of games, it really does need to be well, gee, is there some kind of combination or trick to this? Doesn't seem like it. Seems like I'm just gonna light all of these and then that'll summon something.
Your kind is an abomination here.
So here we have a regular skin and, well, no, a custom skin and a custom line of dialogue at the very beginning. We have a decent amount of skeletons coming around and getting summoned in, but my super overpowered gun was no match whatsoever. At no point did I need to, and see, he dropped a ton of items. Like, I didn't need to use a spell, didn't need to do anything. And now it's just kind of a matter of looking around here and seeing if maybe he dropped something that I missed. But he dropped everything in one small pile. And then we come over here. We have a waypoint.
You've released the Overseer from his madness. Now we can investigate his library.
So she maybe won't be wandering around in the top level of the city anymore?
Ah, here are his notes.
I doubt it.
He mentions searching for an Ember forge in a dwarven fortress, much deeper in this mountain. He believed it would cleanse the corruption from his awakened ancestors. I will return here another time to learn more, but this Ember forge sounds promising. Come, let's go further down. We may not have much time.
Yeah, let's. Why don't you come with me? Oh, she actually is coming with me. I'm surprised. I was just gonna be snide and rude there, but she actually is coming with me. So you have kind of a custom library here, and this waypoint that one assumes this way gate is consistently open now, so
The beauty of these sunken
I don't have to do
gardens
anything
shines through
like
an
walk
age
through
of
it
dust and
to
decay.
activate it.
Why did they fall to ruin? Could the same corruption that affects me now be responsible for this centuries-old destruction? The thought that this blight could be so ancient unnerves me. But if it consumes me, I must go deep enough that I can never escape to do harm. And there is still hope. A fool's hope, but I cling to it.
It feels like in this story that whatever character you play as, you end up being corrupted at the end and turning into the bad guy. That would be an interesting way to end Torchlight 2, is have the 3 main heroes from Torchlight 1 turn out to be the bad guys. It is also worth mentioning we turned down the audio, so if that was a little bit quieter than what you remember, then you're recognizing that correctly. Seems like there's 4 gates that we're gonna have to deal with. We're in a cave, and See, this just doesn't really line up with anything that makes sense. Like, how can you be in a cave and have entire rivers and oceans and entire like buildings and entire civilizations really on top of each other?
These ruins, I've read of them. This is Asteria. Their discoveries are the foundation of my art. Oh, I wish Brink could see this.
So we're going to get some XP and fame for hearing that sentence with the dialogue.
I have reactivated these 3 rune gates, but it is the 4th that leads deeper. Some threat must have caused the Assyrians to disable it. The destination glyphs are missing. We'll need to find those missing glyphs to continue. Search the active gates while I study this chamber. Hurry, there are many obstacles between us and the Ember Forge below.
So we're like 4.5 hours, roughly, into the game, and this is the first instance we've had where any kind of split experience has occurred, or any kind of side quest or key is necessary to get us to go any further. I feel that's a little weird. And here's some pygmy characters, which may not work particularly well against a shotgun, just because if they're moving fast, I can't click on them, and if I can't line up and shoot them, then that's going to be a problem. So I might start using my
Triggered a trap.
might start using my shotgun less and my magic more. Fairly quickly here we'll have our inventory full again, and we'll have to send the dog. Let's see. We want to be thorough, and it looks like you can't go in the water ever, but it looks like we might affect the height of the water. I guess I should slightly applaud. There's no secret doorway here on this, apparently. I should applaud that they are changing the scenery rather fast, which helps keep things from getting boring. Certainly in Diablo 1, you saw a lot of the same creatures over and over again. This really is a style of game, Diablo-esque games are, that don't really benefit from being played on higher difficulties. Sure, if you want to challenge yourself and you're determining some self-worth from that challenge, I get that, but it's something I have long since abandoned as a way of determining one's self-worth, is whether or not you can beat a game on hard. But there are, on rare occasions, good reasons to play a game on hard.
You have triggered a trap.
But often there are terrible reasons also to play a game on hard. Locking content behind beating a game on hard is annoying, to say the least, for almost every time I've ever seen it done. There are some games that if you can really be certain that it will be so fun that somebody would want to play it a second time, maybe then giving a slightly more difficult mode makes sense. Borderlands as a series wants you to play the game twice through by giving you basically 30 of the 60 plus levels you can have in a game. So that other direction must have been a secret extra thing. Yeah, I'm getting displeased, I suppose would be the right term, with the just go. These passages that appear. But I do want to play the game as fully as possible. and get these little drops of gold. I guess maybe the feeling is if you're running into enemies, you're going towards a... This thing is just hitting me and I'm having trouble clicking on its stomach. Yeah, it feels like... Yeah, the Shrine of Healing is nothing. If you're running into two enemies, you're probably in a collectible area, whereas if you're not running into enemies, you're going towards the main storyline. Large enemies, I mean. If you're not running into any enemies, then you're probably going the absolute wrong direction. So once I saw that this hallway was kind of... I was a dead adventurer. And it did seem like it did a nice job of looping us back. Here's a named enemy. And we're on floor 10, so there is a quest for killing a named enemy on this level. I do believe something dropped into the water there when he died. Or it's just animating weirdly. Here's something being cooked, but you can't shoot it or do anything with it. There's nothing up here. The level of aggression our dog has seems to sometimes vary, because sometimes this dog will lock in and really go after enemies, but sometimes he'll wait.
Gained a level. I can't carry anymore.
So a new level, increase our adventurer stance, increase our dexterity. I kind of want to get my dexterity up to 50 just to see where that takes us. Inventory wise, with this dog, let's see, we've hit a point where no longer are items worth even really looking at too much. It is very much a case of I need to speed up the process, because we're doing it every 5 or 10 minutes. So that. This is a potion that will swallow the eye and increase our health, which makes a lot of sense because we don't want to die. Turns out dying in this game is an achievement. There's like 500 deaths they want you to take. Playing on easy, I doubt we'll run into that. Okay, these leather belt that we have equipped is a 10% chance to reflect damage, where this would increase magic find. So I'm gonna put this on. Missile damage, 50% to reflect missile damage.
Your pet has departed.
So, while our pet has departed, we'll
Has been sprung.
deal with these guys, because we don't really need the pet. Yeah, again, why the penalty? Why the 2-minute penalty? of losing your pet. It really spits in the face the idea that you want your pet with you anyways. The fact that you're sending them away constantly. I picked up an item and the glow at the bottom of the ocean stopped, so that was just a visual glitch more than anything else. I don't know what you do to make a pet more interesting in a game like this. Certainly every game ever in the past couple of years have tried to have a pet something of interest. Fallout 4 and Fallout 3
your pet has returned.
Gave you dogs, and then Fable also certainly kind of notorious for having a dog that they specifically kill at the end of the game. Right. Infuse spell, dual wielding, frailty, no, terror, ranged weapon expert. I could go with pet mastery, and I think that's probably what I'm gonna have to do, because I don't really think I'm ever gonna use a magic weapon at this rate. There's nothing more down this path that I want to really deal with, and we're just working our way to barter at this point. So pet mastery now, it'll decrease the pet travel time, so yay for that, I suppose. But for people who don't put points in the pet mastery, those people are going to be kind of constantly frustrated. Maybe if they made it a little bit more of an automated thing where the dog just leaves you automatically and you have no question once his inventory gets full, and oh, by the way, the dog picks up items for you. If it was more automated, then there might be something of a idea of balance there. We're getting a lot of named creatures. I'm starting to suspect that when you have increased magic find, what that really means is you run into an increased number of named slightly stronger minions that then have a increased chance of dropping magical items. That might be exactly how this works. It really, we're getting down to almost every 2 or 3 fights we run into a named minion. And my shotgun shots, I kind of wish they had a little bit more spread. It seems like they're not fully or successfully hitting everything when they're in tight groups. But I really can't complain too much about my legendary weapon that's super overpowered.
My inventory is full.
Right. Back to this. And the game practically pauses when you do this, so you really don't have to worry about something sneaking up on you and attacking you, which inevitably makes it kind of dull. Take that. Potions. Right, so this would increase dexterity and ice resistance, but the armor is way less. So I'd like to use this, but it's not high enough armor. This is nowhere close to good enough. This would not work because of it doesn't have increased gold find. no to that. This might work though. Extra health, extra defense, poison resistance. Yeah, and 16 armor. So, yeah, that is a better improvement. That's nothing. That's nothing. That's nothing. But we're not really to the point where we want to fill them up, or are we? Actually, we probably are. It'll be an interesting experiment, to say the least, about how faster it's gonna be to send this guy. I'm gonna send him with these two. So it's been about 2 minutes.
Your pet has
Let's see what the timer is now. About a minute 20. Minute 20 now. So pet mastery might be the thing for us. But I suspect as we get deeper, that time is going to just forever increase. I suspect, though, if it's 2 minutes now at level 10, and let's just assume that there's 50 levels, you're maybe having a 10-minute delay time at the lowest levels of the game, and then that is kind of it. Like, I don't think it's gonna get too crazy.
Quest complete.
So that was the named creature we were supposed to kill for the quest for glory, which I feel like I probably should just fill up my inventory one more time and then go back to the town.
Your pet has returned.
The other thing about pet mastery, I suppose, is it would increase how effective our pet really is in the fight. Because eventually, one assumes we won't gamble our way into just overpowered equipment the whole game through. So we will eventually have to at the very least want to, on occasion, get some support from the dog instead of him being just this pet. Not that I really have a problem with the game just giving you a pet and then the pet not doing anything at all. Of course, you inherently run into that problem where everybody assumes if they see a dog or an animal in a game that it's there to cheaply emotionally manipulate the player, and that happens in movies too. There's an entire website called Does the Dog Die or something like that, and it tells you yes or no just plainly. So yeah, I could see a lot of story-based games where you would just naturally have a character who has a pet, and they've chosen to not give that character a pet just because it saves on animation, which is also a fair argument, and it saves on that anxiety that people have. There are definitely people who are extremely sensitive to any form of animal cruelty or abuse, and so you don't want to really trigger people, as much as that has become a ridiculous term in a lot of instances. So yeah, when I try to think about, is it better that you have a pet versus just hiring a companion that would have a whole secondary level of equipment that you could give to them, or a and have like a secondary different style of gameplay. I think you would be much better off with a actual character. That hit kind of hard. And in Diablo, when you would hire a companion, they would on a rare occasion die, and you would hire another companion, and each companion would be a good example of here's a different class of hero or class of character that you could have played as in the game. In Torchlight's example, since it only really is giving you 3 hero classes, you by default know that if you were to hire a companion, it would be one of the other 2 hero classes. And that's not a problem though. If the 3 hero classes were particularly different and unique and had more variety there. I suppose it does come down to a certain level where you start to realize that the variety in your game might be in hero classes, and then people only end up playing 1 hero class, so 2/3 of all the content is not seen by most players. So why not just have a single hero that can then gain any amount of skills? I think I would kind of appreciate that. Even like Borderlands, they give you a minimum 4 hero classes that you can play as, and then it's way too much of a time investment to go and play any of the other hero classes that are available. This isn't gold fine, so I'm not going to do that. This is a quest item. We're definitely not selling quest items. I imagine the game would not let me sell a quest item even if I wanted to. And if the dog went to the city with the quest item, I imagine it wouldn't finish the quest and fix, move us forward. Yeah. So if they wanted a simplified experience, why not just have it start as a hero who can specialize in any class whatsoever and potentially respec in a different class? So you could become a mage, you could become an archer, you could become a melee barbarian tank.
It's no wonder the Assyrians' knowledge advanced so quickly. They were perched atop an endless supply of Ember. We will need all 3 of the missing destination glyphs. The Assyrians must have hidden them in the ruins to seal off the corruption below. I expect one is hidden through each of the active rune gates. We must not waste time. So far, Ember Blight has only made you stronger, but eventually it will control you.
So we could, in theory, if we were totally out of town scroll potions, portals, we could go up the stairs here and use the way gate. But there's really no reason to do that, so let's instead just use a town portal scroll. I may buy some town portal scrolls at some point, but I have enough now, and the town portal scroll always ends up there. So, here was the fame quest. Let's see. Truly an epic victory, I complete picture it now. Balka roaring mighty, you striking a dashing pose. I wish I could have been there to see it. Of course there's the danger, one with talents such as mine simply can't risk such a perilous errand. The fact that this guy is kind of a robot is ridiculous, because then we haven't seen anything else in the game that says robots exist. So our next quest is on floor 12, Risen the Malignant. So we'll accept that. That would give us a level 5 armor, so we're not really getting anything for that. This quest is still being done. And I can't imagine I don't want just a random,
First one's free.
not weapon, but armors. So we could get not the Gorgon boots, but a belt for 2,000. We could see what that does, since our belt right now just increases our magic find. Let's see. Well, that is a better belt by far. So, although it's not an increase in magic find, so that kind of sucks, but maybe we can try and enchant it. We have 12,000 more, so what else would we want to replace? Vimbrance gloves probably wouldn't be terrible to try some gloves for another gamble. Don't particularly like those. Let's try these. Let's put these gloves on. Again, that's less gold find, but frankly our gold find is not doing as much as I would like it to. The next thing I could do is, let's see. I could try this. Could also try that armor compared to what we've got. This feels like this would be a whole nother class of armor. Can we do both? I mean, we can afford it all, but there's a danger in spending as much money. I'm gonna go with this and not the other. Yeah, that wasn't a good gamble. Alright, one more gamble. 34 armor, major strength increase. Compared to having a lot of extra health and defense and items like that.
I see ya. Hey, friend.
So we don't need any of this stuff, so we can just sell it immediately. And that'll get some of our money back, but not really enough that I feel like we should. Increase magic find, or increase gold find by 1%. Over here we have increase gold find by 1%. So is this better? Magic attribute and poison damage versus faster cast spell. Yeah, I think that is better. Wait, this was increased experience though. Yeah, I can't trade anything that was increased experience out. That doesn't make sense. I'm willing to get rid of increased gold find. I'm not really willing to get rid of increased experience. There we go.
See ya.
So what does this guy do? Cracked core and cracked core, and he transmutes for free. Alright. And there's, I don't think, a great way to even merge potions, but I think there is probably something here. giant mana potion.
Fortune smiles on you.
So we can start doing this.
Fortune is kind to you.
And it puts back the others.
Fortune smiles on you.
So
Fortune is kind to you.
so that'll save us some space, but it seems like it is taking 4 out of everything.
Fortune is kind to you.
So you are trading quite a bit
Fortune smiles
for the transmutation. Feels like there should be an easier way to do this, though.
Fortune is kind to you. Fortune is kind to you. Fortune is kind to you.
And we can start getting rid of our basic spells,
Fortune is kind.
mana potions, because already we are at that point where
Fortune smiles on
it's more.
you. Fortune is kind.
Yeah, it seems like it actually takes only 3 to make a giant spell potion.
Fortune smiles on you.
Interesting. So now, if I put this here,
Fortune is
it
kind.
becomes the super health potion. And we really are not at that point where it makes sense to have a super health potion. 1600 health. I only have 800 health in total right now. I doubt these would transmute into anything. And yeah, it doesn't seem like anything else would transmute. So take a bunch of these, put this away for sure, put this away, take that pile and that pile, and put that there and that there. And go back to transmuting.
Hi there.
See, this is 800 health and potions, and this is 800 mana, and that really is that really 800? No, 67 mana. Wow, you have way less mana than you have other things.
Fortune smiles on you. Fortune smiles on you. Fortune is kind to you.
Just start turning
Fortune smiles on you.
a lot of these into
Fortune smiles.
other kinds of potions.
Fortune is kind to you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's pretty much where we want to leave that,
Take care now.
because we're just not ready for anything else. So stack of those and one of those, and we have a dull core ember and a cracked core ember, so we can't really do anything with that. I don't even know where I'm supposed to turn in the quest. It's, I think, over here.
Hail!
This one's look promising. There's a lapis music box in some forgotten nook below us. I bet I can sell. Okay. So we have a new quest over there. I didn't mean to click on that guy and talk to him. Glyph of turning. This is like the glyph we had before. So apparently we're gonna hold on to all 3 of the glyphs until we are done with them. So I'm gonna just go through everything and see what the enchantment chance is, and if it's 2%, then we'll go for it. So, enchant.
Fortune smiles on you.
All right.
So that adds a new enchantment.
Day.
And I think we may run out of money very quickly here.
You are unlucky.
All right.
Nothing happened on that one,
What can I
but that's
do
not
for you?
terrible. Ah, but I'm out of money. So I assume everything else would cost too much to enchant. Well, this would only cost 300, and that's increased experience. And this is increased experience, but better.
Fortune smiles on you.
Goodbye. What can I do
And
for you?
yeah, I kind of don't think I can afford anything else. So I wasted my money a little bit gambling. Meanwhile, maybe I should try to buy heal all, but maybe not. Meanwhile, we also see a spell Frost 4, which makes me wonder if we're going to start seeing spells Frost 5s. There's a cracked core ember we can't afford. We could sell mana potions, for instance, and maybe then afford it, but I don't think it's really worth that effort. The rest of the Gorgon suit, as far as armor,
Bye-bye. What can I do?
man, I hate how these click locations are. Armor.
Good journey.
Who is the guy that sells armor? Is it him?
Hello there.
Yeah. Gorgon gloves. So, he's got the Gorgon gloves now for 2,000. I can't afford them. Compared to the gloves I have, which really, really sucks. And it doesn't strike me as though he has any of the other Gorgon items right now, so I just need to save my money and pay attention to that. And it would be a slightly accelerated experience, I guess. It would be a problematic experience to go through the game holding on to quest items. So I think I need to come back to this area later. I don't think we're gonna really miss out on a lot of quests because of that. So yeah, this is where we're going next, and we're about 9 minutes so left, or maybe we're exactly on an hour. I think this would be as good of a point as any to end this recording. Like, there's if we start getting into it, it's gonna take a while. It does seem like my resistance is either being improved by armor alone, or possibly by our defense. Our defense does now start to feel like something that is what I'm hoping for. We're not getting hurt quite a lot. Yeah, 4 hours and 47 minutes into the game, it says. Could have tried to enchant some of these items, but I would want to be careful about that, certainly. Is there anything else quest-wise? Yeah, we have a main story quest, which is get the key elements. We have the Shimmering Deep quest. We have a quest for glory. which is find that next guy and kill him. And we definitely want to make sure we get these quests for glory quests done, returned, and then get the next one. Otherwise, we very possibly might skip over one of them and get less experience. And then the portal quest is the one thing we really can't work on as long as we're in the main story. See, I kind of want to see my character sheet, though, in comparison to, like, our defense is 89 to 177, which I assume is the amount of damage. It says is the amount of damage that you currently absorb. Block chance is 0%. So I just take the hits every time, but I absorb a considerable amount of damage because of that. One assumes that all of that is coming from the equipment and the abilities of the armor that I'm wearing. So if you were trying to do like a naked run, you would have to put a ton into defense. Same is true for the amount of damage you absorb via resistance. This has a 4% chance as far as our magic to do critical damage, and it does between 243 and 486 damage, magical element damage. So in my weapon, that would be ice damage, I suppose, between 103 and 269. So something else is also increasing our damage somewhat. Whereas dexterity is the range damage you can inflict. So yeah, I guess I should just keep on putting stuff in dexterity, and not even bother to put anything into magic, because it seems like it's barely doing anything extra, although it does kind of also feel like between the two that they are doing a lot of damage, whereas melee damage, we're not doing anything with that. And yeah, we're trying to get our fame level up. Notice our fame tier is 8, whereas our experience level is 16. So fame comes a lot less often than just experience, which is probably a true statement to the real world also. But yeah, fame is the thing that gets our skills to go up, and it becomes more and more questionable as far as, will I have enough points to start getting into barter that by the time I'm at rank 20, or will I have barely made it to rank 20 by the time I'm halfway through the game, and then barter won't really matter too much. It does seem like they are trying to balance the game in a very late game way by giving you a barter ability and a treasure hunter ability at the end of the game, where 3% gold find, frankly, right now is nothing, because I am finding piles of gold for one. So I have like quite a lot of gold find that isn't actually being shown anywhere that I can see. Let's see, because if you look at your character sheet, there's no second page here that says gold find or any abilities like that. So unless that was in your journal somewhere, hidden way deep into this journal, which it doesn't seem like the journal gets that deep, your gold find is a number that you could maybe calculate if you looked at every single item you had, but not a number that is just easily told to you. And clearly it's not that efficient, because I am still just finding tiny amounts of gold. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.